What do you do when you fail? You know, recently we reviewed that U.S. Army field manual, and it says in that manual, other than death, all failure is psychological. Other than death, all failure is psychological. Think about that. Just think about that. This failure, this upset, this catastrophe. If you aren't dead, then it's just psychological. It's in your head. Now, this does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed. It just means you've made a temporary tactical retreat. It means you've made a brief withdrawal so that you can regroup and reattack. So, as far as I'm concerned, if you get beat, unless you're dead, you are not defeated. And you have not failed. What you've done is you've learned. You've gained experience. And you're still alive. And you have memories to make. So get up and go get after it.
If you constantly remind yourself, after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked down, I've got a saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. See, a lot of people, because of failure, they stop believing. Let me share something with you. You will fail your way to success.
To know that your life is not over and the game does not stop just because you bruised your arm or you skinched your knee. To feel pain and rise up anyway and say the fight is not lost just because I fell in the first round. The game is not lost just because I got tackled or ran into an opposition. And many of you have run into something, got some bruises and some cuts, and you're sitting on the sidelines nursing your wounds when you need to get back up again and get in the game.
Just because you failed doesn't make you a failure. And when life hits you, you just gotta keep licking. You gotta keep going. Just don't quit, all right?
Failure is a part of the learning process, right? What's the risk of failure? What, you'll be embarrassed? Failure implies that it stopped, that the game stops, right? If it's part of you're failing and then you learn, then that learning is part of the moving forward, right? So that is what the process is like. Fail, learn, move forward, and constantly do that because you're cutting edge. You're going where people haven't been before.
To get past it, you gotta go through it. You can't go around your failure. You can't go over your failure. You can't go under your failure. You need to grieve the failure. Grief is the way we get through the failure, and grief is the way we learn the lessons.
Success is merely the hangover of failure. And that failure is an essential ingredient in creating a learning atmosphere for you, so that you can accrue those learnings, those small incremental steps of failure, and collect enough learning so that you can arrive at success. You're going to fail, and that's okay, because you know what? You know down deep inside of all of you, that's how you learn.
The
person who's standing at the end with their hand raised isn't the person with all the genetics. It isn't the person with the most potential. It's the person that has the greatest perseverance, that's always willing to get up. The difference between a champion and a loser is that they both fail. Is that the loser allows the failure to stand for life. With a champion, even though he gets knocked on his ass, finds the fortitude to stand back up, reface that endeavor until it becomes his favorite, until he wins. That's the difference. Champions get back up and do it again. If you win success right off the bat, you don't learn anything. Your real truth in learning is a failure. And when you go after an endeavor and you fall on your ass and you fail, and then you get back up and you reface it, and then you become successful, that's some sweet victory right there. So all these things in life, even the failures, create who you are today. So therefore you can apply what you've learned in the past to make the best judgment in the future course of action. And it doesn't matter if you win or lose it. It really doesn't. It just matters if you apply and you go for it, When you go out there and you try it yourself and you fall flat in your face, that's where you learn it the most. Because the next time when you fall, you learn to catch yourself. And that's the lesson you never forget.
We all get knocked down in every aspect of life.
Life will knock us down, but we can choose, matter or not, to get back up.
The life of an entrepreneur, the life of a successful person is not glitz and glamour, okay? It's not the glory. It's also not the shit. Some people make it sound like it's shit, like it's horrible, and like it's the worst thing ever. It's not. Are you going to have uncomfortable situations and high levels of stress and tons of situations that are gonna, make you feel bad and make you feel like shit and wear you out and stress you out? Yes, absolutely. You have to understand that there are gonna be times when it's low, it's bad, everything's going wrong, everything's got you stressed, everything's got you mad, everything's got you frustrated. And that could go on for a couple weeks too, even longer. It could go on for months. That's just the life of a fucking entrepreneur. It's the life of an ambitious person. And you have to understand everything is cyclical, okay? You're not gonna win all the time. You're not gonna succeed all the time. You're not gonna have good shit happen all the time. Just like you're not gonna have bad shit continue to happen all the time. There's highs that are super high and there's lows that are super low. And so going through this process of growth and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're working and you're doing this and doing that and doing this and you feel like it's not moving. It's important that when you feel low that you continue to execute. It's important that when you don't feel like it, that you continue to do things that you did when you felt like it. And that's really the difference. It's doing the things that you need to do, that you know you need to do when you don't feel like doing it, and especially when you don't feel like doing it. Because the reality is most people are very productive on the highs. Most people are very good on the highs. But just being good on the highs isn't good enough. You have to be good all the time. And so learning how to operate through the lows and learning how to know that the lows are going to end is a huge deal. It's normal to have highs and lows, and they're always cyclical. You're going to have days that are great. You're going to have weeks that are great. You're going to have days that are bad. You're going to have weeks that are bad. And I just want you to know that that's normal, because I see so many people quitting, because that's what most people do. They get something, they get excited, they work hard, they do their thing, they do everything they can, and then they're like, fuck, it isn't working, and they quit. Okay? Or the minute 2 or 3 bad things happen, they quit and they change course. And you just have to learn that when things are frustrating, when things are fucking making you mad, when things are making you feel pissed, when you're getting to the point where you're like saying, fuck it, dude, that's when you've got to stick it through. That's when you've got to push even harder. That's when you've got to make sure that even at a minimum, you're still executing on the same path that you were when you're winning, because that's what's going to push you through to a breakthrough. That's what's going to push you through to the next level. When things get really fucking hard, when you're about to say, fuck it, I quit, I'm done with this shit, it's not for me, and change, if you just stick it through a little bit more, that's when the breakthroughs start to happen.
That's when the good shit starts to happen. It's just most people don't have the grit, and they don't have the perseverance, and they don't have the mental capacity to know that if they keep pushing, if they keep working, if they stick through it at this point, that they are going to make a breakthrough. Your success is in direct proportion to how much uncertainty you can deal with. The more uncertainty that you can deal with, the more pressure that you can deal with, the more anxiety that you can deal with and handle, the more breakthroughs you're going to have, and you're going to come out the other side stronger.
Every human has what it takes to get past whatever they're going through if they decide to push through it.
Anytime you start something new, anytime you set out on a new path, anytime you move out of your comfort zone, you're going to go through what is basically, if you could imagine, a bell curve of frustration. All right? Things are going to you're going to be excited, you're going to be pumped, you're going to have the momentum to carry you through the first 2 or 3 or 4 days. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's 3 weeks. It's different for everybody. But the point is that when you get excited about something, we have natural energy that pushes us through. But what happens when that energy fades? What happens when you start to get frustrated? What happens when you start to feel like a grind and things get grueling and they get gritty and they get tough and it gets harder to move through the process every single day? What happens then? Most people fucking quit. Okay, and here's the fucked up thing about quitting when things are really fucking hard. Because they're about to get easier. They're about to get more fun. Okay, think about it. Think about whenever you tried something new. Maybe you play the guitar, and when you first started taking lessons, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be fucking Slash. And then you realize that you're not gonna be Slash for about 20 fucking years, if ever. And it gets pretty hard, okay? And after the first 2 or 3 lessons, you're like, fuck, this is gonna be really hard. And you start to grind it out, and you're like, okay, all right, this is tough, but I'm learning a little bit. And then all of a sudden, things start to click, and your body and mind start to work together, and all of a sudden, you're playing what sounds kind of like music. And then it gets exciting. And then you get, a natural burst of energy again, like you had in the beginning. Okay, and anything is this way, guys. Anything, whether it be a new business, whether it be a new diet and fitness program, whether it be learning a new skill or hobby that you don't know. Anytime we work into a new area of life by moving out of our comfort zone, it's gonna get really fucking hard, really fucking fast. And you have to understand that area where it gets really fucking hard is where most people quit. And the reason this is relevant is because it's the same in entrepreneurship. Okay, in the beginning, everybody's excited. In the beginning, everybody's gonna become a billionaire. In the beginning, everybody's gonna conquer the world. But after a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a few years, they start to get tired. They start to get frustrated. They start to ask, why is this so hard? They start to ask, why is this so hard for me? And they think it's just them. And they think the whole fucking universe is coming down on them. And that's when people quit. And guys, we all feel that way. We all have times of frustration. We all have times of anger. We all have times of why me? Why is this so hard for me? But at the end of the day, guys, when you start feeling that massive frustration, that massive anger, that massive irritation and massive stress, you are about to have a breakthrough. You are about to move through an area that most people can't make it through. And you've just got to keep moving. Because when you make it through that area, that's when shit gets fun. That's when you say, oh shit, man, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually an entrepreneur. I'm actually doing okay. I'm treading water. And the reason 9 out of 10 businesses fucking fail, guys, isn't because there's something wrong with business. It's because there's something wrong with people's mind. They don't have the ability to make it through the first curve of frustration. And along your career and along your journey in becoming great at anything, you're going to have these curves appear over and over and over again. But you have to keep in mind, guys, that just like the old saying, goes, things are the hardest right before they get better. Things are the most frustrating right before they get better. Things are the worst right before they get better. And it's hard to remember that when you're going through it. It's hard to remember that when you owe every single creditor, when your wife or husband's yelling at you for spending too much time at work, or too much time in the weight room, or too much time on this or that, or whatever. It's hard to remember that things are going to get better, but they are, and this is part of the process, and all of us go through these little curves. We all do it. And guys, it's the ones who understand that things are going to improve and keep focused on the end result that make it through these curves.
First 5 elements of the numbers being 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Doesn't matter what leave beyond in the return links.
I hear from people sometimes that feel there's nowhere else to go. There's no way out. And they don't have any more options. And I get some other messages from people that haven't been able to dig out of that hole, to overcome that despair. To anybody out there that's in that place, I don't really know what exactly to tell you, but I can kind of tell you what I think. I think no. I think don't save that last bullet for yourself. Don't save it for yourself. You lock and load that last bullet and you shoot it at your enemy. And when you're out of bullets, get out your knife and attack with that. And if you lose your knife, grab your enemy by the throat and you keep fighting. And you keep fighting and you keep fighting and you keep fighting no matter what. And you never quit. You never quit. And if you feel like your life is in a place where you can't get any lower, and you don't think you can find any way out, good. Because that means the ultimate challenge is ahead of you. It means you can only go up. And it also means that things are going to be tough. Things are going to be tougher than anything you can imagine, but that storm that you're in, from your perspective, it seems like that storm is enveloping the whole world. It seems like the storm is everything, but I'm telling you, it is not, and it won't last forever. the storm, and you will get out of the storm. And when you get out, you're going to see the sun again. But right now, you're being tried. You're being forged. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test. Don't fail the test. Don't fail the test. Don't give in. Don't quit. Don't ever quit. Fight on. Fight through the storm. Fight through the pain and come out the other side stronger and tougher and better. A fighter. A survivor. A winner.